for Tempo Storm. Very strong captain. We are rattling through these bans. Lance and Chernwalker for Tempo, Black Feather and Lyra for TSM, and then Kestrel locked in. That's going to be going into the hands of Gaspy.
It's going to have that range to try and deal with a Rhyme. And depending on what Team Solo Mid picks for their final two selections, we could see Tempo Storm try and bring out that Sky again. Sky is a very strong counter into a Rhyme, one of the top picks when you're going up against a Rhyme. Rhyme is obviously incredibly powerful on update 2.9, still has quite a few strengths on 2.10, but Sky has always been one of those heroes that if you can play it well, you can kite around him and prevent him from being able to do a whole lot.
Going to have a different mech, though, coming through.
Yeah, I mean, with a Baron being on TSM's side, Sky becomes riskier just because, as CP especially, she's not able to deal her damage to a backline carry if she's diving. It's not as easy because those skill shots become harder and harder to execute on.
Yeah, especially when you have the Grace. This is a composition that Team Solo Mid has run. They ran it last week of the Grace with the Baron, and as soon as the Echo was completed for Flash X, all of a sudden this Baron pick was able to do so much work.
What would make sense is the Reza pick for Tempo Storm, something they played a lot of in the past, and how it plays very well. It would make sense in that it can dive on the Baron and eliminate him later on in teamfights, but against the Rhyme and against the Grace, that's not the easiest thing to do, especially with the heals coming out, keeping Baron alive from the Grace.
Not only that, but we've seen Hyde pick up this Reza a few times in Vainglory 8 play, and I have not been impressed by his play with it thus far. So I actually would not want to see this Reza come out just because we haven't seen enough, and it is going to be the Sky pickup. But now, my question is there a place where you could run the Sky weapon power in the lane with Hyde on his Crystal Kestrel? That is an idea that I would actually love to see Tempo Storm try and bring to the table.
That would be the dream, because they would have a lot of early game pressure, a lot of mid game pressure, so much sieging potential as well, and Hyde does so well on CP Kestrel, one of his strongest picks by far in the past. And then on top of it, we saw how Cloud9 earlier in the day played the weapon power Sky versus the Baron, and were able to eliminate him in teamfights later on in the game. So very possible, Tasty Bacon.
And that would be a spanner in the works for TSM. They are 1-0 down in this series currently. What would TSM have to do in that kind of scenario to make sure that they can stay in the game?
At that point, it just becomes knowing where this Kestrel is at all times and just focus everything onto the Sky. The Kestrel, you need to jump to the Kestrel. You need to be trying to engage onto the Kestrel for the Crystal Kestrel to have that much impact, because she needs to get those traps down.
All right, well, it's time to get on into this game. TSM are against the ropes. Tempo Storm 1-0 up. Hashtag Vainglory 8. Let us know who you're supporting. It's time to pass it back to Medic and Denominate to get into game 2.
Thank you very much, Munch. We are here for what could be the final game of TSM's 2017 split. They are so close to being knocked out of World's contention by the dominant Tempo Storm lineup, but they have the Grace, they have the Baron, and they have the Rhyme. But do they have the rhythm to win this game and take us all the way to game 3?
Well, Team Solo Mid, they have the Baron. It's something that Chuck has been known for quite some time to do. But Gaspy is on the Sky, which we actually saw earlier in Baron work out very well. That was obviously Cloud9's old school able to run that one, but that is going to put Hyde in the jungle here on this Crystal Kestrel. Now, it is one of his signature picks, but it's something that has fallen out of the meta quite substantially. It's so easily countered by Vision and just not walking into those active camos. So it's going to be about Hyde and Gaspy trying to be aggressive in it. Like we have a
pretty sure Hyde is DC'd or is AFK or some such thing, because he has yet to move from that position. He wasn't attacking the Treant, he wasn't doing anything, so I think this will be an issue with Hyde's internet connection. We'll get sorted out. Yeah, I've just been informed that we had a player who wasn't able to move, which I assume was Hyde, because otherwise he was just totally trolling Gaspy. He was just like, nah mate, you can do the work, I'll just stand here, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting game. I'd be incredibly shocked if Tempo Storm was able to bring down Team Solo Mid again. You know, you'd think Team Solo Mid's going to bring their absolute best to this matchup and be trying to get that world spot, but and look all that dominant in that first game. I mean, Yeah, the draft was a little bit iffy, but I mean, even their rotations together as a team didn't look like the Team Solo mid we'd once saw. So it's definitely interesting to say the least.
It definitely is. It's going to be very intriguing as well to see Hyde play this CP Kestrel, because he's got a double crystal bit to start us off. It's going to be weapon power Sky, I assume, with the weapon blade in his inventory. So I'm really intrigued as to how this composition is actually really going to come online. There's so many different options for them. It relies very much on aggressive play from the Kestrel as well. So it's really, really exciting to see Tempo Storm pick something that's a little bit more outlandish in a game that could decide TSM's fate as to whether they're going to Worlds or not.
Oh, absolutely. And again, there's so much on the line, and you know that both Tribe and Rogue are praying right now that Team Solo Mid is not able to find any points, that they drop here to Tempo Storm, because for Rogue, Team Solo Mid is the closest team to them in points that's possible to take over their point standing. Again, we were talking about it earlier, only 5 points, and they're guaranteed a spot. So if they pick up 0 here, that's the end of the line. Rogue only then have to think about Tribe, who would then have to go on and win the entire week, a whole 8 points. So obviously Tribe trailing a little bit, but definitely could have the potential. But they will have to, Rogue and Tribe would then have to face each other at some point and then go from there. But obviously Rogue's out, so they're in a rough spot right now. It's so hard to watch a team that was so close fall here on day one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there's always a risk as well that when that sort of mistake happens in your gameplay, when you lose out early on, even if you get to Worlds, you don't then reset quickly enough to actually set it up properly. Because I think there's a risk for Rogue here that if they get to Worlds, because other teams have won, that they haven't reset properly. But we're going to hand it back across towards our analyst to break down the game thus far, break down the first 1 minute and 17 seconds as we wait to get this pause sorted out.
There has only been 1 minute and 17 seconds on the game, the Spartan number, as it were, Master Chief coming to visit us. But there has been a CP Kestrel locked in and a weapon power Sky, so definitely plenty to talk about here. We have Hyde CP Kestrel coming on in here, and that means that this is an entirely different kettle of fish.
That was a top-notch reference, I have to say.
Thank you very much.
I mean, we have a CP Kestrel for Hyde. This is a pick that, back when CP Kestrel was a thing, Hyde and I'm the Doom were really the only 2 players that were known for their CP Kestrel. At London, Hyde was a self-proclaimed, he was proud to say he was a one-trick Kestrel player. So this is an opportunity for him to go back to those times when he was dominating people with the Kestrel.
Absolutely. I think the game, despite us just getting back onto the desk, I think the game is about to be ready. So we're going to pass it back over to Medic and Denominate.
Thank you very much, Munch. We are back, and Hyde has been able to move. He was hiding in the jungle. He still is as he takes his back treant, but happily he's able to move once again. And TSM actually only have Flash X in the lane at the moment, as the rest of the team are on their way. Looks like Von C is going to be resigned to the jungle, as you would expect on this roam. And Best Chuck with the triple weapon blade will be sitting in the lane up against Gatsby and Playboy Afro.
Playboy Afro takes quite a bit of damage there. Gatsby as well.
Try to trade it back onto Chuck if they can, but it's always difficult to get the damage down onto a Baron early on. He does have quite a bit of burst with the triple weapon blade.
Yeah, absolutely does. We see the amount of damage he's able to do onto both the captain and carry here in the lane. And if they step a little bit too close, he'll be able to splash some damage over on as well. So they have to be cautious of that. And again, Best Chuck, historically, we've seen his Baron before, and he's a very good Baron. Baron maybe not in the best spot this patch. He's still definitely playable, but he's not the if you give somebody this hero, you lose the game carry anymore. And now, wait, Afro, you're in a rough spot.
Yeah, he is. He's going to go down to start us off. Tempo Storm losing out on that first blood. Hyde's actually tried to sneak into the jungle of TSM here, but Von C spotted him out. There's a scout trap that he's walked across as well. He's going to pop the active camo once again, but immediately spotted out, and Von C's on the chase. Not going to let Hyde get away too easily. Sprint boot for sprint boot. dodging the Winter Spines. Active camos once again. Flash X won't. Oh, he did. He just saw Hyde sneak into that bush there. And well, it's not the easiest thing for Hyde now. Continually trying to pop the active camo and dodge around, but Flash X will find him in the end. Has the benediction, jumps in, and Hyde is going to go down for the second kill of the game for TSM.
Second kill of the game. Unfortunately, the Crystal Kestrel, once you've taken damage, you can't use that active camo in combat, as well as didn't have the energy to use it either. So that is another kill going over to Team Solo Mid, and that's a good start for them in this game if they want to be able to press on, if they want to be able to make it to day 2, where they can look to acquire some additional points. S-Chuck doing his best to push this wave up. He does have the Heavy Steel and the 6 Sins purchased, so he has a decent amount of weapon power right now. Not a ton, but definitely a bit. Whereas Gatsby has rotated back, has the Heavy Steel and a Weapon Blade, as well as a Minion Candy in his pocket. Ooh, Flash!
Yeah, just about gets away. Does still have the Blast, but doesn't use it as the Glimmer Shots come down. Chuck's going to jump away with the Jump Jets as well, but this is good from Tempo Storm. They've taken back the imperative in the game and been able to force TSM onto the back foot slightly.
Yeah, they have a little bit, and there's that Minion Candy pop. They might look for some aggression on the turret now, but Hyde, quite low on energy, is just going to take the opportunity to recall and top up some energy, do a little bit of shopping, and look to get back into his jungle for some farm as it's coming up. But Von C's making a rotation over there now. Could take a uncontested half rotation and look to possibly come up with the team. Oh, Hyde! Almost, buddy.
Almost got it, but Von C is the one who's able to secure it, and now has the Valkyrie as well with that level 6. So Von C is way ahead of Hyde at the moment, about 10 CS or so, which is a monumental advantage, and a lot of it comes down to when Hyde was caught out and had to sacrifice himself to the choke point turret of TSM. But does get some chunk down onto Flash X now. Yeah, they can look for some damage on the turret as well, but decides instead just to continue to try and harass Chuck away from the lane. And I think if you're a Rogue or a Tribe fan at the moment, you're cheering on Tempo Storm. You're saying, yeah, CP Kestrel can definitely work. If you're a TSM fan, you're in a pretty good situation. The Death from Above doesn't connect onto Flash X, and TSM can look for the re-engage as Von C comes in. Good chill wins. The Valkyrie comes out as well, but the healing is from the fountain, and Von C now forced back away from the turret. Tempo Storm able to survive the barrage that Von C is trying to put them under.
Yeah, it was quite a close play there. Gatsby is going to be able to make it out. And now it's Team Solo Mid looking to get some damage on this turret. They might even find Playboy Afro.
I think they get the turret here. They've got enough damage, and they will secure the first turret of the game, and with it, about 1,300 gold lead. One shot, one kill, did not connect. And so Flash X is able to get to safety. Has that divine intervention in a couple of levels as well. So it's going to be incredibly impactful in these fights. The healing that a Grace can output is absolutely monumental, so we'll have to keep track of that as we get towards a later game fights. Death from Above doesn't land once again from Gatsby. The wave clear isn't quite there for them to push onto this turret, but they are going to get some chunk down with the glimmers, and with this wave coming up, maybe they can look for a little bit more.
They're definitely going to look for it, but it's going to be difficult with Best Chuck here able to clear out the wave. We see Hyde going ahead and recalling. Finally has that Shatter Glass online. We're almost 7 minutes into the game. Von C does have the Dragon's Eye and is now looking for some damage on the Playboy Afro, but can they find it? Here comes Gatsby.
Looking for the chase. Playboy Afro is quite low. Von C there in the midst of the fight here is the Death from Above as it locks up Flash X, but Crystal Sentry backs away. There's the Fountain. Good use there. And Tempo Storm will turn their eyes back towards Flash X. One shot, one kill comes out. Best Chuck caught up in the gauntlet. As Tempo can continue the engage. Good Valkyrie. The root with the Winter Spire coming out at the end. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. Iron Cannon. That's going to hit straight onto the face of Hyde, but he does manage to keep himself alive with a bit of help from Playboy Afro. It ends up being a 1-for-1 between Tempo Storm and TSM.
And this has been a crazy back and forth game thus far. Hyde, he's getting into some damage now and can potentially cause a lot of poke through Von C and Flash X. Obviously saw the one shot, one kill coming out through finding the kill onto Flash. No divine intervention yet, and Playboy Afro actually had a really good gauntlet in that last fight. But Best Chuck hitting level 8 He'll be getting ready to get a second point into that ultimate, extending his basic attack range a little bit further, and that's where Baron can really start to take off. Once he gets a range advantage over his opponents, they just have to be cautious of Gaspy.
That they do. Looking for the fight once again as Vonsi is on that front line. Hyde has the flank, gets some glimmers onto Best Chuck, but Best Chuck turns it back around. Playboy Afro there, Vonsi down to half. Hyde getting the glimmers down, continuing this fray. The fountain comes out from TSM and Tempo Storm disengage. They still have a fountain of their own if they need it, but they're settling for just getting that cooldown out of TSM at the moment.
Absolutely. It's Tempo Storm playing a little bit on the back foot right now. They are down a couple thousand gold, are down that first objective, but they've definitely been able to find adequate damage in these past couple of team fights. The Sorrow Blade complete for Gaspy will allow him to dance around the fight and deal out a substantial amount, but until he gets the breaking point online, he's not going to be able to match the damage of Best Chuck, who has the Sorrow Blade and the Tension Bow and is working into a monocle. So Gaspy, yes, he has to prioritize some armor, but if he doesn't have the damage, his armor is not going to really matter all that much. Hyde has level 8 infusion, looking for a fight, and Flash, very smart purchase out of him, has gone with that contraption so that he can find Hyde, but Best Chuck takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, one shot, one kill comes onto Flash X, and good block up by the Grace. I think the issue really is for Tempo Storm that they can't really build too much armor yet, but they need it against this Baron. You look at it, Hyde has no armor whatsoever. Vonsi's got a flank here as the active camo has come out looking for the stun, but can't quite land at Hyde there. Great Gauntlet coming out as it separates Best Chuck from the rest of his team, but he's just going to run around the side of this. Gaspy with the Winter Spire to the face. The fountain eventually used. Gaspy needs to try and Suri strike away from this one, but instead just gets the damage down onto Flash X, and Hyde is on his way as well. This could actually be a good fight for Tempo Storm if they can catch TSM a little bit more out of position. The sentry goes down. TSM actually able just to get back towards the turret here as looks like Tempo Storm aren't going to take too much more of the fight. Gaspy puts down a death from above, but Flash X is able to jump away with the benediction. Here comes Playboy Afro. One shot, one kill. Doesn't connect as TSM retreat from the turret themselves. Another forward barrage from Gaspy, looking for the chase onto Vonsi. TSM get the fountain back up. There are the Porcupine Mortars. They can't quite connect, and now Best Chuck is quite low. He jump jets in. He gets a kill. Gaspy's fallen. Takes his last breath and gasps for air as TSM start to fall. Double kill behind as he eventually got the flank, and now it's all on Vonsi, but he has no energy at all, nor does Hyde. It's just going to be a prolonged trade between these two. Winter Spire, Vonsi looking for the chase. Doesn't even have the energy for the chill winds. The glimmers coming out from Hyde, and that will be the final Winter Spire you have to feel, but Hyde misses the glimmer. Vonsi's going to regenerate a little bit. Eventually, he will fall as he runs around. Here comes Gaspy. He knows how to close this one out, and Hyde hits the final glimmer shot. Tempo Storm get a delayed 3 kills and only lose 1.
Yeah, they have done a great job, actually, against TSM, keeping up their guard at all points of the game. When TSM are able to find something, they answer back quickly. That one shot, one kill brings Best Chuck all the way below half. Hyde has so much damage against this squishy Baron right now. It's pretty insane
what CP Kestrel can do, but Best Chuck turns it back around. Look at the damage from that jump jet double auto onto Gaspy and Playboy Afro. Playboy Afro only has a coat. Here's the Iron Cannon as well, and Gaspy! Oh, that was close. Flash X thinks he can come in for the kill with the final benediction, but doesn't land. At Hyde has the double shatter finished. There's something we used to see a lot from Team Snow in EU, but Best Chuck jumps in. There was a scout trap in the bush. It was almost enough to kill Hyde. Vonsi is on the chase here as well. Good active camo from Hyde, actually. He dodges back in the stealth, tries to turn it on Flash X. They get the kill with the Crystal Sentry's help. And now it's up to Gaspy to try and take down these 2 carries, but even with that breaking point, doesn't do enough damage onto Vonsi and Best Chuck, who are on for the chase. A very dead Sky. Only Playboy Afro left alive for Tempo Storm.
And there's not much he can do, even with the Crystal Sentry here. That's just going to be Team Solo Mid taking down the Sentry uncontested, but they don't have the damage for Playboy Afro. And now, Best Chuck, he has the gold in pocket to finish a second Monocle, or possibly even go into a Tornado Trigger. We'll just have to see what that option he chooses is, but Playboy Afro, he is getting pretty far out here. Can they set up a play? He has the gauntlet.
Just too many scout traps, though. This is the problem. Like, they keep catching Hyde out on scout traps, and it makes it a lot more difficult for him to actually get flanks off because they know he's coming. And as soon as they know he's coming, they can set up for a quick jump jets into double auto, and basically that's Hyde dead because he has no armor at the moment. He's not building any defensive items, just going pure CP, thinking that he can get the catches onto TSM. He needs to be a little bit more respectful of the vision control that TSM have had as he steps on another scout trap, and TSM will get a gold miner here. They will trade it for a bit of damage, but even with the ion cannon, Best Chuck actually going to fall here, and Tempo Storm can push towards this turret. They will get the turret down before Von C gets there. The active camo comes out. Playboy Afro trying to dodge the midst of Flash X and Von C. There's the gauntlet as well, stun onto Flash X. The damage from Gatsby is huge. The one-shot, one-kill doesn't quite connect. Flash X healing himself back up, trying to get the divine intervention out, but eventually he'll fall, and now Von C's the new target. 3 seconds to kill him to get the ace. They're not quite going to do that, but they will get the delayed 3 kills. Tempo Storm continually chasing onto Von C, who's actually doing a lot of work here with the Winter Spires. Hyde low on energy. Playboy Afro's going to have to run away, and Von C's just like, guys, I actually have the energy to use my abilities, so maybe you want to run away.
Uh-oh, Chuck's
you don't
coming.
have the energy to use yours. Best Chuck is on the chase. Doesn't have the boots proc to get any closer, and Hyde will get himself away, but look at the minefield of scout traps he has to walk away across.
Yeah, Flash has done a great job with the vision control. Not only does he have the contraption, he's making sure he picks up scout traps as frequently as he can, because if Hyde is not freely able to walk around the battlefield, able to get himself into a favorable position and get those active camo stuns down, then it's very unlikely for him to have an impact on the team fight. Von C does a great job of soaking up those glimmers and then just allows Best Chuck, obviously, then to come in with the jump jets and get a lot of damage down. And I was actually surprised Von C made it out of that last fight alive, to be honest with you.
He had energy, and
Yes.
Tempo Storm just didn't have the energy. Kraken has been awakened. Hyde is hiding in the back here. Gatsby's going to jump across with the Soul Strike. Good. Death from above, but he is stunned up. The Winter Spire coming out. The Fountain. Is it enough? It doesn't quite heal him up far enough. Flash X so low, but the one-shot, one-kill that won't connect. Playboy Afro has to use the Valkyrie to get away. Hyde's looking for the flank here, but can't quite take Best Chuck out. Divine Intervention coming out as well. Good active camo from Hyde. He's going to get stunned onto Flash X, and he gets one. And now it's a Playboy Afro to join up this team because they can get the chase. They can go onto Best Chuck. They can go onto Von C. Can they make the catch? It's on Best Chuck, I think, here. If your Hyde gets a double glimmer, looking for the triple. Can't quite get the quadra. Can't quite get the kill. That will mean that he just continues to chase with the active camo here, right into an iron cannon. Gets the kill with a glimmer. That's exactly what CP Kestrel can do. The active camo just allowing you to reset fights time and time again.
Absolutely, and that just shows you still have to respect the damage that the side of Tempo Storm are able to put out. If you get out of where Flash has vision, then you are very susceptible to all of the damage that Hyde can bring to the table. And now with this Kraken being started up by Tempo, they're looking for a repeat of game number 1. Can they find it, though? On C dropped very low.
Yeah, Gatsby's looking for Von C. The one-shot, one-kill doesn't connect, but they do have the mortal wounds out, which will help them with this fight. Here come the glimmers from Hyde, looking for the damage. There's the Valkyrie in response. Playboy Afro stuck on the Kraken here, and Gatsby and Hyde might turn back towards it. There's the death from above. They're looking for it. Flash X jumps in, can't quite land the Holy Nova onto Hyde. The Kraken goes down, it goes to Tempo Storm, but here comes Best Chuck. The Fountain, Gatsby gets a kill and gets away somehow, using the Soul Strike. Best Chuck's taken so low, manages to get a return kill. Here's the Iron Cannon, and Hyde now needs to run away from Von C, who's on the chase, but a good active camo stun will lock up the rhyme there. One shot, one kill doesn't connect because that's not where the Baron is anymore. Hyde getting chunked out with the Winter Spires. Can look for a little bit of a re-engage here. Dodging around with the active camo. Just needs a couple of glimmers onto Von C, really. We will continue to chase in. Looking for the active camo stun. Dodging around. There's the stun. There are the glimmers. That should be enough, but it's not quite because Von C isn't giving up yet. He gets the Valkyrie. He gets the shutdown. They're looking for the ace as well. The Kraken's pushing in, but Von C realizes he cannot chase any further onto Playboy Afro. TSM will be able to stop this Kraken before it gets to that choke point turret, but the Kraken did fall, and it went over to Tempo Storm.
This shows TSM needs to be careful. If they're going past where Team Solo Mid Flash has put down any vision, that's where Hyde is going to be able to have an effect. That's where Hyde is going to have control of the fight. And we saw it there in that last push that TSM had towards the Tempo Storm base. It was Hyde able to get down a lot of damage, and that ended up killing Flash X and Best Chuck. And then, they've taken a kill lead. They've evened up the turrets at this point. And despite being down at 6,000 gold, Tempo Storm are very much still in this game. And they are going to be looking to shut down Team Solo Mid and get the praise of Rogue and Tribe, as well as make a good name for themselves at the end of this season and preparing for 2018.
Gaspy's being engaged on here, has managed to get away. The Valkyrie comes out. There's the Gauntlet as well. It's up to Hyde. Iron Cannon in the middle of the Gauntlet. That is a massive amount of damage on towards the CP Kestrel. He's going to fall first, and now Gaspy has 4 breaking points stacked and looks like a broken man as he dives into the middle of TSM. Can't really do much. And TSM will be able to win out that fight. It may be 11 kills to 11, but this game is very much in TSM's favor.
So far, it appears to be, but again, Tempo Storm do find edges here and there. TSM, they are going to start pushing into this choke point turret, while Vainglory is securing some jungle CS, trying to complete his build. He's trying to get that broken myth online, as well as very likely wants to get an Aegis for the amount of damage that Hyde is able to put out, as well as getting that additional block so that he can get out of the gauntlet.
It makes a lot of sense, especially since there's an Echo on Playboy Afro now, so you're looking at double gauntlets more than anything else. Really, Tempo Storm just need a fight where Gaspy can build up the breaking point. That's exactly what he needs to do. If he can get to a point, then he can do something, but at the moment, TSM are not allowing them to have that. They cannot get away from the continual pressure of this Rhyme and of this Baron. And with the Kraken coming back up, TSM can set up around it. They've got the scout traps, they've got the vision, they've got everything they need to start up that major objective.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Tempo Storm actually all recalling except for Playboy Afro there, so that's a little bit interesting. One shot, one kill is going to clip Best Chuck. Is going to give Tempo Storm a little bit of vision for a second there, but Hyde, still no defense. He has Halcyon Chargers, and he's working into a broken myth of his own, but he doesn't have not even a block. So if Vainglory is able to get one hit onto him, or if Chuck's able to get one hit onto him, he is not going to have any way to get out of that fight shy of a boots proc. Now Vainglory looking to come up here. Here comes Chuck. This could be the fight Tempo Storm needs.
Yeah, there's the Gauntlet. There's the death from above as well. Hyde looking for the flank here. Second Gauntlet comes out, is blocked out though, and Gaspy not really able to build up too much thus far. Breaking point only stacked up to 7. Hyde's trying to get the damage in from the side, but already TSM have taken down 1, and now they're looking for a little bit more as they jump in towards that backline. Hyde running away from Flash X, but he'll be chased in by Best Chuck. Just needs the crits. It's a double, looking for a little bit more if he can get there. Jump jets up in 2. The kill for the Rhyme. Vainglory gets 1. Hyde falls as well. TSM get the 8, and they will look to close out this game and take it to 1-1.
Team Solo Mid hanging on to this series by a thread. They managed to come through in this second game, but Tempo showed us that they can beat TSM. So looking into this third game, this is still anybody's potential win here. But Team Solo Mid, they come through strong with a performance here in game 2. It was a close one though for a majority of that game.
Close but no cigar for Tempo Storm as their hopes of winning a 2-0 versus TSM are dashed upon the rocks that is the Winter Spire from this Rhyme. Great stuff from Vainglory, great stuff from TSM all round, you have to say. And with it being 1-1, we are going all the way in this series. TSM had a chance to redeem themselves and get